Okay, it's 2 minutes past. I'm going to kick off. Welcome, everyone. You've made it. This is Slack Like a Pro, Mastering Team Communications for Culture Building. I'm Elena Kerrigan, Managing Director at Think Productive. And if you're, I don't know, I see some familiar names, but maybe this is your first time at Think Productive Skills Taster Session. Our global teams have been running these monthly for free since COVID times as a way to connect and inspire our community and learn from our community. We are Think Productive. We run workshops, leadership programs, keynotes, away days, all to help people do their best work, smash business goals, and feel good about themselves, all without burning out. And our brilliant subject matter experts can bring your people together online or in person in your offices to run practical, impactful sessions on workplace challenges, such as delegation, fixing meetings, how to use Microsoft Teams, presentation skills, and lots more. So before we begin, I just want to agree some rules of the road. If you've been to our free skills taster sessions before, you'll know the format. It's approximately half an hour presentation, maybe a bit longer, and then a bit of like 10 minutes or so of Q&A at the end. So there is a questions button along the bottom. Can you see it? What's it called? Q&A. Yep. So add your questions there. Otherwise, they might get lost in the chat. And I'll try and answer them at the end. And any that don't get answered, I'll answer them in my next newsletter. So that's another incentive to subscribe to that. And if you want to chat whilst I'm speaking, that's totally fine. And use it at any point if you want to comment on something you're hearing or want to share an idea or something that you do in your organization. That is all brilliant too. So feel free to use the chat, and it's a safe space. So I may be reading out good stuff that I see in the chat. So if you prefer not to share your full name or your organization's name, that's fine. Although it can help inspire people. We're all here to learn from each other. And you can use emojis on the chat. I'm a big fan of these as a productivity tool. And also the reactions button at the bottom, which I also love. Oh no, I can't see it as a host. What? Okay. Anyway, the reactions button, if you want to try that now, it's a big smiley face. There's one, there's a heart. Have a go, test it, and it's a nice way of me seeing whether people are actually there still listening. If you want to completely ignore the chat and focus solely on the presentation, you can absolutely do that. And I'll do my best to try and intermittently go to the chat and pull out any gems that might be in there. This session is being recorded and will be up on our YouTube channel soon, along with our other recordings. And the chat will not be visible on there. Okay. There are the rules of the road. Let's get started with today's session, Slack Like a Pro, mastering team communications for culture building. And the culture building bit is what I'm specifically interested in today. Slack is a cloud-based team communications platform. It does a lot more than comms. It's a lot like Microsoft Teams. And at Think Productive, we've used it for over 10 years now to connect our team and to streamline our communication. As a fully remote team, we went fully remote just before COVID, actually. Slack is where we arrive each day for work. And so it's a great place to kind of build and reinforce culture. This is some of the Think Productive HQ team on one of our morning huddles, which we do on Slack every morning. It's a 10-15-minute meeting. I've designed today's session specifically for people managers and culture champions. So anyone who leads a team and understands the importance of being intentional about team culture. And I'll explain a bit more about that in a sec. Whether you use Slack already or you're thinking about it, or you use another platform like Microsoft Teams to connect and collaborate with your teams, I'm hoping this session will uh, will have some inspiration for you. And if your manager isn't here, do send them the recording. My goal for the next 30 minutes or so is for you all to take even just one idea from this session to experiment with back at the ranch with your own teams. And that's where the real impact happens. Otherwise, what's the point of even being here, right? So keep that in the back of your mind as you're listening and make note of anything you might want to try. Yeah, as I say, even just one thing, that would be amazing. So yeah, it's all about the learning transfer. So today is not really about the tech, as you might have gathered already. I won't be showing off all the fancy productivity features Slack has to offer, although we may meet a few along the way. Psychology before technology. This is one of Think Productive's values. And we think that the key to making a difference in anything, like our productivity or our well-being or our management practices, the key is in our psychology, in how we think and behave, our habits, not in some shiny new tools, even though they're very tempting to play with. It also means, this psychology before technology, that if you get the psychology right, you can apply it to whatever tool you want to, really. So it doesn't have to be Slack. So we'll be focusing on the psychology and culture building. And in my opinion, that's what makes these platforms super powerful, especially in today's hybrid/remote working world. Here's some of the HQ team again on another huddle. So I mentioned being intentional about culture. And here's a quote that's often seen in workshops. Culture is what happens when you're not in the room. And yes, I agree with that. But at Think Productive, we also like this slight variant of this, which is, I think, a more maybe proactive and positive approach for leaders, which is culture is the result of what we do when others are looking. So we're talking about role modeling here, and culture's the byproduct of consistent behavior. And as I said, in today's remote hybrid working world where we don't always have the physical water cooler, it's really important that leaders are intentional about culture. For us at Think Productive, Slack is a place we all go to every day to check in, to communicate and collaborate. So even though it's virtual, it's full of opportunities, like big opportunities, small opportunities, to intentionally design and reinforce culture. So if you're a manager or a culture champion, look for the opportunities in those shared spaces, virtual or otherwise, to champion best practice, set standards and expectations, and lead by example. Lead by example, because these are the things that can set culture. And I'm sure you all do lots of this already, but it's good to share. Oh, there we go. Here's an example of this in action. So, a little peek behind the curtains of Slack at Think Productive. This is our TPHQ team, Think Productive HQ. And here we have me and other team members sharing when we're going off for lunch. And there's no obligation to do this. It doesn't happen every day. I just started doing it, and now other team members do it too, and it can be quite helpful if someone's wondering when you might get back to them or something. And crucially, also as the team leader, I am role modeling taking a lunch break, because I think it's really important to take breaks. And I actually coined a phrase: breaks are reviving, not skiving. So feel free to use that one because it's very important. So that's an example of kind of thanks for the heart. That's an example of like the role modeling, and like it's part of the culture that we've built at Think Productive, and we use Slack to reinforce it. Freedom and responsibility is kind of an aspect of our culture where we empower our people with the freedom and responsibility to choose how, where, when they work, within the boundaries and the needs of the business and the team, of course. But we trust them to, take ownership of their commitments and their projects, what they've got on, and also their own energy and attention, how they structure their day. They might want to block out the morning to focus on deep work or projects, obviously within the boundaries of other meetings that might be happening and that kind of thing. Or when they go offline, they can go offline, and not go on emails for an hour or whatever to really get focused. So we give people this freedom, but it comes with the responsibility to take ownership, to be accountable, and to communicate and negotiate their needs with their teammates. I'll show you an example of this on Slack. And I'll just read out this message at the top that I have redacted for privacy. So, Elena, Dion, I will need to bump off a bit early today. Have gotten really dizzy after lunch. We'll clock in early to make up the time tomorrow. Mailbox quiet so far, but we'll need help in case anything urgent comes through. And I think it's clear here that my colleague, feels psychologically safe to admit when he's not feeling well, that he needs to ask for help, to put his well-being first, but also to communicate this transparently with the team and that they might be needed. We actually spell a lot of this stuff out in a manifesto, which we call our How We Work Manifesto. It's a live living document on our website. You can go and have a look after the webinar. I'll just play a little video here so you can see how to get there. So if you go to Why Us and scroll down to How We Work, there it is. And it's our manifesto, but you can use it as inspiration if you like. And by the way, we help our clients build their own manifesto like this. So if you need help facilitating that, we can help. So amongst other things, our manifesto clarifies how we communicate, what tools we use for what, the rules of engagement. Thank you, Francis, sharing the link to the manifesto there in the chat. And expected response times, for example, that kind of thing. And we've been using Slack over emails for almost 10 years now. And when I say over emails, I mean like most internal communication happens in Slack instead of email. Slack is our main workspace for internal communication, community building, asynchronous collaboration, and knowledge sharing. All really important things. And this helps keep our inbox, our email inboxes, as clear as possible for client communications and then important or confidential internal announcements or decisions and record trails. So it really does help us keep see the wood from the trees in our inboxes. Oh, record trails, yeah, there you go. And of course, moving most of our internal communications to Slack or Microsoft Teams, whatever you use, it has the potential to make that place then a very overwhelming place for your team as well. This is what Slack looks like when you've read all your messages, by the way. They have these nice little messages, which they've got different ones. They're quite cute. But to help reduce stress and overwhelm in Slack, there's a couple of simple things we do that you can role model as a manager. So firstly, seems obvious, but tag people if you really need them to see your message or if there's an action for them. And that way they get notified. And then this is a big one for us as well. If there's an action for you, like in a post or a thread, always acknowledge that you've seen and captured it. So we've actually got this custom emoji, the captured writing like that in red that we uploaded to Slack so that we can post on a thread when we've seen an action for ourselves and just captured it. And you don't even have to write anything, you just put captured, and then the person who asked or for help or whatever can see that you've seen it, you've acknowledged it, you're eliminating doubt, which is a big thing for us. Like, it just gives people peace of mind, that elimination of doubt. And these two little tips are in our How We Work Manifesto. Here's a real life example of this in action. I'm going to press play on this video so I can talk you through it. So here, Grace has tagged Klein. She's spotted a mistake in one of the workbooks. It can happen. We're human. And she's talking through what she spotted and pasted an image, a screenshot there of what she saw. And then if we scroll down, we can see that Klein has added the captured emoji so that Grace can see right away, and anyone else who's worried about that workbook can see that it's been captured. He's on it. So without needing to write an email to anyone or even writing anything, that emoji has said everything. And clarity around capturing actions is a big part of our culture, as I've said. And once Klein has completed the task, he'll also confirm when it's done. And he can do this with a tick emoji, if he likes. Picture really can, tell 1,000 words. Is that the expression? Yeah. So all for emojis. If we zoom in, we can also see, let me play this, that Klein, you can see when you hover over the person who's been tagged, you can see their profile. And his profile is all up to date with his, working hours and his status. He's actually on holiday and in Japan and back on March 17th. Again, and Grace has her availability up to date there as well. Again, that's providing clarity, managing expectations, eliminating doubt, all that good stuff. And Grace can clearly see that Klein is on holiday, so she'll know not to expect this to be progressed while he's away, because holidays are for taking time off, not for working. All of these ways of communicating and working help define the culture. How are we doing for time? Yes, I think we're okay. We're on track. Hands up. Who knows what MBWA might stand for? Any ideas in the chat? No, no idea. Okay. Management by walking around. Anyone heard of that before? There we go. So when you're managing a remote team or an online, when you're managing a remote team or a hybrid team, an online space like Slack is also really good for this management by walking around, which I'll explain. So every now and then, I will have a virtual walk around the various operational channels that I'm a member of on Slack, as you might do as a boss in real life when you visit your office and maybe take a walk around different floors of the building. And there's actually a lot of research in journals supporting kind of the effectiveness of this as a management tool, and it helps you get a feel for things, how they're going on the ground and on the front line, seeing people in action, and helps you gain some kind of first-hand insights into processes, challenges, maybe areas of improvement, things that people keep kind of bringing up as issues that might be worth coming back to. So it helps you kind of, assess performance, build relationships, build trust, and it also can help people and their work feel seen and valued. In particular, there'd be maybe those people who might not be as extroverted in meetings or simply don't get to mix that much with senior colleagues, or because you're in different project teams. So having a little walk around different channels and poking your head in, or putting an emoji on a post, that kind of thing, just can be a kind of light touch way of kind of keeping your eye on things, making sure that people feel supported and that kind of thing. It can also help you spot micro silos. Those are those often unintentionally isolated small groups or individuals that might kind of, because of the way they work, maybe they only come in once a week, or they work on a project on their own or with one other person. Walking around different channels, you can kind of see them in action a little bit more potentially. And also it can help you combat proximity bias. That's that tendency to focus on those people that are closest to you on projects and that kind of thing. And visibility bias, that tendency to favor or focus on those people who speak up first or are the loudest. And as we know, these things can and often do affect, promotions, career progression, delegation of exciting projects, that kind of thing. So the more that managers can see more people in action doing their work is great for those things. And for cross-functional intel as well, that you might pick up in one channel and go, oh, did you know that team are doing this? So love knowledge sharing. I've always been a bit obsessed with it. So that's another good thing it's good for. And where appropriate, so I don't expect you to read this, but you can pause the video once it's on YouTube and have a read. But when it's an example of this in action, really, you might, when you're doing your management by walking around, you might find opportunities to reinforce best practice again and clarify expectations and remind team members of the importance of the work that they're doing and how it ties to bigger purpose or vision. And this is an example of me talking about that a little bit recently in our logistics channel. As I said, I'm not going to read it now. Don't expect you to, but have a pause when the YouTube video is up. Anyone here heard of the Gottman ratio in the 70s around married couples? It's some quite famous research where Gottman basically analysed married couples' likelihood of getting divorced or staying married. And apparently the single biggest determinant of whether those couples stay together is the ratio of positive to negative comments that they make to one another. And the optimal ratio, we found, was 5 positive comments to every negative one. Now, the interesting thing, and I definitely need to work on that at home, but the interesting thing is that in 2004, the research was replicated, and this is what I'm showing on the screen now, in a workplace setting by Heapley and Lasada. And amazingly, they found that the praise to criticism ratio was very similar, 5-1 as well. And again, it can feel like, sometimes it can feel like your work isn't being seen or that you're not, one thing about knowledge work, that intangible work that we do with information, a lot of that great knowledge work can be invisible. And now even with remote and hybrid working, I think it can be even more invisible, the work that we do. So kind of acknowledging and recognizing people's work, doing that, celebrating and praising of achievements and contributions, it's more important than ever. So I'd say, when you see an opportunity to shine a light on some great work, invisible or not, grab it. Even if you think you've done it a lot, it's probably not enough. And that's a message to myself as well. At Think Productive, we've intentionally created a space for this. It's called our Kudos channel, as you can see here. So there we go, pointing. And it's a place to give praise to each other and ourselves. So notice I said ourselves too, and self-kudos is very much encouraged as well. As I said, because of this invisible work that we all do. So we use this channel a lot. Again, this is an example of some lovely kudos that we've seen on the Kudos channel. And it can also be a way of combating proximity bias and visibility bias that we already talked about. And it's just a lovely bit of positive social networking, gives the other people a chance to jump in and agree. And as a manager, it's not all on you to do it. Like, definitely lead the way, but you'll soon see other people doing it too. And that is lovely to see happening. And you, as the manager, can support that with an emoji. And it's a really quick and easy way or you could write a post, but even with an emoji, it's a like really nice, quick, easy way to show the person who wrote the kudos and also the person who is receiving the kudos to felt seen and heard. And here are some more. There's some self kudos by Matt in Australia. Yeah, it's something we use a lot. Okay, so this is an extract from our How We Work manifesto. I'm going to read it out to you. We keep our value, like one of our values at Think Productive is trust and kindness are our rocket fuel. And we keep that value front and center. As an example, be mindful of how the person reading your message will feel. If it could publicly undermine, upset, or erode trust in that person, a team, or a process, a private conversation is more appropriate than a public post or email. So, of course, we all understand the importance and value of constructive feedback. We have a whole workshop on that, on giving feedback, and not enough of it can, stifle growth, and it's very important. And my team, I'm sure, will attest to the fact that we're always regularly spotting opportunities to improve things. I actually heard this amazing quote on Radio 1 the other day by Pitbull, the singer. He said, "The biggest room in the world is the room for improvement." I love that. But yeah, like constructive feedback is great, but it's mindful, it's good to be mindful of how we raise that feedback. And often it's best to kind of praise publicly and correct privately. This is another extract from our How We Work manifesto. I'm going to read it out. We embrace and welcome feedback. We see it as a gift, an opportunity, or information to grow and improve. And the same goes for mistakes, which we openly admit to and happily fix. That's something, this is something that we made an important part of our culture, embracing feedback and mistakes. We're not talking about negligence here, it's mistakes, human error, processes that could be improved. And we use Slack to reinforce this part of our culture with a channel that I created called My Latest Mistake. And I role modeled by being the first person to post on there. Let's take a look. I haven't missed anything on the chat, have I? No. Right. Here it is, my latest mistake. No, other way, Elena. No, there we go. And it's this channel is a safe space to share recent personal mistakes, big or small, and to celebrate the learning or opportunity to improve the way we do things. We also have a well-being channel. Here we go. See it here. Oh, God, I can't. There we go. And it's a place for everyone to share and support each other in their attention to self-care and the care of others. One thing we do on our wellbeing channel every Tuesday is our Truth Tuesdays, where we check in with each other. And I'm going to read out the post that gets. It's a prompt that is automatically scheduled within Slack to be posted every Tuesday morning. It says, "It's Truth Tuesday. How is everyone this week? Feel free to share how you're feeling with a simple emoji, with a more detailed post, or with nothing at all this week. It's all up to you. The same goes for reacting to other people's posts." And I really wanted to take the pressure off people feeling like they had to share or download everything that's going on in their lives. But sometimes it feels good to do that. Other times, you might just want to put an emoji up there with like a frustrated face or something. And likewise, I didn't want people to feel pressure or anyone to feel like they're putting pressure on anyone to have to respond personally with to a message that's on there. So you can respond with an emoji or you don't need to respond. So it's all about taking pressure off people, but it's a lovely place to kind of, even though we check in on each other daily anyway, it's nice to know that there's a prompt there to remind us to do it kind of more formally or intentionally, I should say. It's really easy, by the way, to set up those automations in Slack. You just go to automations and workflow and create a workflow, and you can schedule a message. Another way we stay connected, here's another screenshot of our HQ team on another huddle. Yeah, so we have a daily huddle, as I mentioned before. That's another way we stay connected. It's every morning. Well, morning for us in the UK. We have a few team members in the Philippines, and it lasts about 10-15 minutes. We have a very set agenda, and we rotate the chair to kind of minimize having to think about who's going to chair. The first person to arrive on the Slack huddle chooses the chair. And that's kind of a nice little added incentive to um, arrive on time, depending on whether you want to chair or not. And I can share, if we have a bit of time later, I can share what our agenda is. It's just 4 questions. But I'm going to move on because I want to get through all the content first. We talked about missing the office water coolers, didn't we, earlier? We have a virtual water cooler on Slack that everyone in the organization is a member of. Here we have it. Let's see if I can do it. Yes, I did it right in my hand. Okay. It's the TP. TP stands for Think Productive. TP, Global Team Water Cooler and Geek Out. Bit of a mouthful, but it's basically a place to hang out, and we share kind of fun pictures, also geek out on stuff that we might have learned. We've got a few automated prompts there, like it's Training Thursday, what new skills have you learned and want to share this week? We've got some automated stuff happening in there, which is quite cool. And then another thing we do on this virtual water cooler is every Wednesday for an hour, we host an optional virtual wormhole on there. Anyone heard of a wormhole before? I'm going to just give it away. It's a virtual meeting. Nope. It's a virtual meeting where the people who turn up, and it's completely optional, it could be just you on your own one day, turn up and they work on whatever they need to individually, but in the same virtual space. So it kind of tries to replicate the office where you might turn to a colleague and say, oh, can I run this idea by you? Or has anyone ever come across this challenge before? Or what do you think of this name I've given this product or whatever? So you can, we use it in that way. And yeah, there's no pressure to attend. It's there for whoever wants to jump in, and because sometimes it can feel quite lonely working remotely. And it's also a nice little opportunity for those kind of newer to the team or the workforce in general to spend some time with more of their colleagues or more experienced colleagues. Here we go. That was my flashback transition. Remember this slide? So I've just shared some of the ways that culture can be intentionally built and reinforced on platforms like Slack. I hope that you've picked up an idea or two from me, or I was going to say from the chat. You've all been quite quiet on the chat, but I'm hoping that you've all come away with at least one thing that you are going to commit to experimenting with your team in the next week, maybe even today. So I'd like to turn to the chat now, and for a little bit of extra accountability, I'd love it if you could share your one thing that you're going to try out. I'll give you a moment to think and choose if you've got more than one idea. Oh, the tension is building. Manifesto. Great. Yeah, take a look at our manifesto, Owen. And as I say, it's a living live document, so it gets reviewed, and yeah, it's something that will get improved upon over time. John says, I've got 3 actions to take to the team and implement next week. The Kudos channel, Truth Tuesday, and the How We Work Manifesto. Oh my God, love it. Honestly, I just got a surge of excitement there. That's brilliant, John. I'm very excited to hear that. I would love to hear how that goes. So if you want to, have a maybe you could post on the Think Productive LinkedIn channel. Is that what it's called? Page, or share and tag us about how it goes with those things. Any more? Claire, so many good ideas. For me, the first thing will be increasing the amount of positive feedback I give on my team's team channel. Yes, yes, I agree. Good one. Thanks, John. He's going to share how he gets on LinkedIn. Brilliant. Any more ideas wanting to be shared? That's great. I'm very excited that there's some stuff percolating there. Owen says, I already have ideas for custom emojis too. Yeah, I know. They're quite exciting. Keep adding ideas. I'm just going to run through final bit of the presentation before we head to some Q&A. I've talked at you for about 35 minutes or so. And as you can imagine, we've only just scratched the surface. And if you want to dive deeper into any of this stuff, culture building, core management skills, like leading hybrid teams, team communication, we can facilitate this for you and your teams. We have expert facilitators, and they can bring your people together either online or in person to learn from their peers, to explore fresh ideas, to challenge thinking, to discuss an action plan, all in a safe, inclusive environment, anywhere in the world or online. We've got offices all over the world. And today's session was inspired by some of our fantastic in-house workshops, which I'll run through the ones that inspired this session that I created. Thriving Teams. This is about building a culture of resilience and psychological safety, helping managers to navigate today's challenges, whilst also maintaining well-being, trust, and performance. Not an easy thing to do. Cracking the engagement puzzle. This one's all about understanding human motivation to energize and inspire your team, and it helps tackle disengagement and quiet quitting. Supercharge your team comms. This one is about, powerful communication and collaboration without the overwhelm. This is about empowering your teams to understand the role that great comms play in not only supporting your people to produce their best work, but to create a more positive, confident, collaborative culture. And we can help you write a comms manifesto in that one as well. Leading hybrid teams. This is about leading with confidence and clarity and momentum, no matter the distance, even when you can't see your team. And the Productivity Ninjas Guide this is like top 10, isn't it? Top 10. Yeah, that's what it's called. Top of the pops. That's what I meant to say. The Productivity Ninjas Guide to Hybrid Working. This is about making great work happen wherever you are. So Productivity Ninja skills for hybrid working, maximizing productivity and well-being. At Think Productive, we define productivity as making space for what matters. It's not about squeezing more out of everyone. And then this is the last one. There was a lot that went into this session. We need to talk. This is our feedback workshop. It's helping people and managers in particular to replace fear with clarity when giving feedback, and to see giving feedback as a gift, an opportunity to invest in someone else's growth and your own. So if you're interested in any of those, you want to explore those or any other of our offerings, email us at hello@thinkproductive.co.uk, or your local Think Productive office. Just go on our website and you can see in the drop down all the different countries. And we can even build a custom program with you too for your leaders. And finally, if email is a source of stress and overwhelm, which I know it is for many people, we have a 2-hour public workshop coming up next month that you can put yourself onto. It's 10 till 12 UK time, and the link will be coming up on the chat in a sec. And if you like today, the good news is you'll be getting the recording emailed to you, and you'll be the first to hear about all our upcoming skills taster sessions. We have one every month. Do share them with your colleagues. don't feel bad or guilty. Like, do it. Let's get the word out. There is another way to work. Put links on your intranet, spread the word. Um, yep. Thank you, Francis. And all the recordings are on our YouTube channel. Right, we have 3 minutes for questions. This is a prompt to remind us to ask questions. Have we got any questions in the Q&A section? Let me have a look. Yes. Slack can become overwhelming for some. Any advice on how to minimize the likelihood of this? Oh, good question. Well, there's a few tips that I shared on the session already. Let me just have a look at one thing that I had this quote that I wanted to share. This is me, by the way, on LinkedIn. So connect with me, follow me for more insights on leading happy, high-performing teams. Elena Kerrigan. I'm going to stop the share now. And I just want to get this quote because I thought it was really helpful. Where am I? Here we go. Bear with me. Here we are. When you're a manager or a leader, it's really helpful to remember that when it comes to communicating, that your team probably want to be informed but not overwhelmed, included but not micromanaged. And this is something we say at Think Productive. I think this is an area that I could really improve on because I just have an opinion on everything and get excited about stuff and see opportunities everywhere for, oh, we could do this way, or how about this idea? So I think I could do with remembering this quote more often. I'm just going to paste it into the chat because I think it's really good. Here we go. And I think remembering this can go a long way towards minimizing the noise that you make as a manager. Yeah, I don't know if that helps. Hopefully it helps. We have a session all about email that can help you get your email under control. And there are tips in there around how to process emails that I think would be also quite useful when it comes to Slack or Microsoft Teams. So if, for example, don't spend your whole time in there, or go in to process messages intentionally and deliberately, so maybe 3 times a day, rather than going in between every task. Oh, I'm just going to check. And it's very tempting to, and it's designed to make you want to go back in. But I think if you can be more intentional about that and try and put some boundaries up for yourself, that can be a really helpful tip as well. Great. We have reached the end of the session. If you have any other questions, send them through to hello@thinkproductive.co.uk or myself, connect on LinkedIn. And it was really lovely having you here. Thanks, everyone. And good luck with your culture building.